If your store is doing real volume today, you probably aren't losing sales to bad products. Instead, you are losing them to the seconds it takes a fragmented digital stack to load your checkout. The default strategy was bolting a shopping cart onto a general-purpose content system like WordPress. But we have reached a point where specialized conversion-focused commerce infrastructure has completely separated from standard web publishing. I get the appeal. I used to build custom WordPress themes. The promise of open source is absolute ownership. You don't rent your storefront, you own it. Right, but are you saying merchant agency doesn't matter anymore? Relying on a third party for the underlying code feels like a significant step backward for an independent business. It matters, but infinite customizability comes with a brutal hangover. In theory, you own the code. In reality, you own a pile of technical debt, constant maintenance fatigue, and server bottlenecks the minute traffic spikes during a holiday sale. So deciding between these platforms is really a choice of trading technical agency for commercial velocity. The main defense for open source platforms is usually that the core software is completely free. There are no monthly subscription tiers, right? But free software is a myth the second you look at the total cost of ownership. If you run a self-hosted store, generating $50,000 a month, you are almost guaranteed to be paying a developer for at least 15 hours a month on retainer just to keep the lights on. And those 15 hours aren't going toward building revenue-generating features. Exactly. That time is spent managing staging environments, updating core PHP software, and testing component compatibility to make sure a minor security patch didn't break your shipping calculator. Every hour spent acting as a part-time sysadmin directly detracts from high-leverage activities, like marketing, customer acquisition, and actual product development. The $80 you save by avoiding a monthly SaaS subscription is entirely consumed by thousands of dollars in hidden developer fees and the sheer cost of store downtime. When I was handling level 2 support escalations, I saw this constantly. Stores end up with a Frankenstein architecture. They rely on 15 different completely unrelated third-party developers just to execute core commerce functions. In this open-source checkout architecture, data moves from the core platform to the commerce engine, out to a payment gateway, tax calculator, and discount extension. One routine core update can sever the connection to these downstream components, causing catastrophic failures right before payment. Contrast that fragmented architecture with a specialized SaaS platform. The inventory workflow, the pricing engine, and the checkout logic are all entirely native to a single environment. The administrative bloat is stark. On the left, you are managing dozens of pending plugin updates and compatibility warnings. On the right, you have a streamlined dashboard focusing purely on sales metrics. Low initial software costs guarantee a massive hidden tax in technical debt and slower performance. Site architecture has a direct financial consequence. A native, heavily optimized enterprise checkout behaves differently. The integrated payment gateway processes data instantly, rather than calling out to external servers while a mobile user waits on a loading screen. This line graph demonstrates exactly how those mechanics play out. Look at the steep decline for fragmented checkouts. Eliminating friction points in the flow drastically improves completed mobile sales, giving you this much flatter, higher retaining line on a native setup. But acquiring that enterprise-grade checkout speed demands a real trade-off. You are sacrificing the ability to inject custom, unapproved code directly onto the payment page. You are, and you should be. Locking down the checkout environment is critical for maintaining strict security compliance and preventing malicious scripts from skimming credit card data. Relinquishing absolute control over the checkout code is a deliberate design choice aimed at maximizing revenue. This brings up the primary philosophical objection to any managed platform: the fear of vendor lock-in. The risks are entirely real. You are committing to monthly fees forever. and you are totally subject to a third party's terms of service. If they decide they don't like what you sell, your business disappears overnight. You trade autonomy for infrastructure. In exchange for those risks, you gain guaranteed uptime, automatic security compliance, and zero server maintenance. For a lot of solo merchants, centralizing their entire operation within a single corporate entity feels like a dangerous vulnerability. I hear that, but practically speaking, renting reliable infrastructure is drastically safer than attempting to build and secure it yourself. A merchant is far more likely to misconfigure a firewall and get hacked than they are to be arbitrarily banned by a major platform. Vendor lock-in is a reality, but it is generally a highly favorable trade-off for any business owner who doesn't want to be a full-time system administrator. The most significant technical hurdle keeping merchants paralyzed on broken platforms is not usually the cost. It is the fear of completely destroying their search engine traffic during a move. The only way to prevent that collapse is by executing a meticulous, strict one-to-one URL redirect map. If that initial spreadsheet data mapping is done correctly, you preserve your existing search authority cleanly. Google sees exactly where the old page has moved and transfers the value. Platform migrations require tedious upfront data work, but structural traffic loss is entirely preventable. This decision tree provides a final diagnostic framework. Selling physical DATs? Have a dedicated PHP team? If you're a complex B2B manufacturer, trace this path to open source. But if e-commerce drives your revenue, migrating is the logical mandate. Open source provides a brilliant content system, but forcing it to handle scale creates severe e-commerce bottlenecks. Specialized SaaS platforms will always prioritize commercial speed over absolute technical flexibility. We still see the philosophy of ownership differently, but merchants ultimately have to choose whether they want to manage code or manage inventory. And managing inventory yields much better returns.